This lying hoe. The people looking away from the camera, hysterical. Hysterical. Talk that talk. And here enters Shit Dick.
Would you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause now and hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
You can have a seat. Put yourself right up to that mic.
Amen.
Yes.
Sir, in a loud, clear voice, can you please introduce yourself? Spell your first name and your last name.
My name is Justin Alayan, Justin, last name Aylaian.
And how old are you, sir?
I'm 32,
And what town do you live in?
still Massachusetts.
Did you grow up there?
I did, yes.
Okay. And what schools did you go to there?
I went to Neshoba Regional for high school. That's a tri-town, so it's still Bolton and Lancaster. That's where I attended for grades 9 through 12.
What did you do after high school?
After high school, I immediately went to the University of New Hampshire, where I obtained a bachelor's in business management.
After you graduated from UNH, what did you do?
After UNH, I did a cross-country road trip where I traveled Southwest U.S., and I got a job as a wilderness instructor at a therapy camp in southern Utah.
And what do you mean by a therapy camp?
I worked as a lead counselor for some youth between the ages of roughly 15 to 18, and there were some early adults as well that were above 18. And they came to this camp for a variety of different problems, whether it was drug issues, whether it was anger issues, whether they had problems at home. They would come to this camp and we would help build confidence. We'd give them coping mechanisms. We would do that in a wilderness setting. We would teach them primitive living skills, and we would assist them in their transition, going back to their families or whatever they had after.
At some point, did you make your way back east?
I did, yes. I was out there for roughly 8 months, and I shortly came back after.
Okay. What did you do when you came back?
When I came back, I shortly thereafter, in the fall of 2017, I enlisted in the United States Army.
Okay. Did you go to boot camp?
I did, yes. I attended boot camp. In Fort Benning, Georgia. I enlisted as an infantry. So I attended boot camp in Fort Benning, Georgia. Immediately after boot camp and advanced infantry training, I went to airborne school, which was also at Fort Benning. Right after I graduated from airborne school, I was moved to Fort Bragg, North Carolina, and that's where I spent the rest of my tenure in the Army.
Okay. How long was that?
Altogether, I attempted to try to become a Green Beret, where I went to try to go for Special Forces. I went to, it's called SOPC, which is Special Operations Prep Course, prior to selection. And during that training, I was severely injured. I ended up hurting some ligaments and tendons and needed reconstructive surgery on my tendons. So I ended up shortly getting out of the military after that with an honorable discharge in the, I believe, winter of 2019.
So then did you come back up here?
I did, yes. I returned back to Massachusetts shortly thereafter. After that, I worked several different jobs. I ended up at Fidelity for a while. I worked in their 401k department. And then shortly thereafter, I started going through civil service and applying to jobs to become a firefighter.
Did you eventually get one?
I did, yes. I got on at North Andover Fire Department in August of 2021. It was at that point I also went back to my fire science degree at Anna Maria College, which was obtained roughly a year and a half ago. I got my bachelor's degree in fire science.
So what is your role in the North Andover Fire Department?
I'm a firefighter EMT with the North Andover Fire Department. My job is to protect life and property.
When you say an EMT, do you work as a firefighter full-time or an EMT? How does it work there?
With the rotation that we have, the newest 24 members on the fire department, they're in charge of running the ambulance. So on my shift, what we do is we work 2 weeks on the ambulance, and then that third week rotating off, we either go on the engine or the ladder truck.
Do you know a person by the name of Kelsey Fitzsimmons?
I do, yes.
How and when did you first meet her?
It was September of 2023. She had reached out to me on Facebook. She had seen a picture of me posted on the North Andover Fire Department page. And she was recently going to be getting hired as a North Andover police officer, and she reached out to me on Facebook.
Fair to say you developed a relationship with her?
We did very quickly, yes.
Okay. At some point, did it become more than casual?
Yep, it became more than casual very quickly. Both of us developed feelings very quickly, and that developed into a relationship very quickly as well. And it was about roughly 6 months after that we had initially met that that Kelsey and I had moved in together.
And where did you move in?
She had owned a home at 125 Phillips Brooks in North Andover. My lease had ended that May of 2024. And at that point, we decided that we were going to live together, and I wasn't going to renew my current lease that I had.
And I'm sorry, remind me, were you on the fire department? You were on the fire department.
I was, yes.
So were you living in North Andover at the time?
I was living in North Andover, yes.
At some point, you guys were living together. You had a baby?
That is correct.
Okay. And when was a boy or girl?
Boy.
Okay. How old now?
He is 13 months old.
Okay. And what's his date of birth?
2/16/2025.
So he was born while you were living together at 125 Phillips Brook?
Yes.
At some point, and I'm going to turn your attention to the weekend of July 28th, 29th, going into Monday the 30th, okay?
Okay.
Did your relationship become strained in any way? Just yes or no?
Yes.
Okay. And as a result of that, did you decide to do something on June 30th, that Monday?
Yes, I ended up obtaining a restraining order.
Okay. Now I'm going to just step back for a second, and we're going to talk about that day in particular, okay?
Okay.
At some point, were you communicating with the defendant at all?
Yes.
How so?
It started in the morning. It was both text and phone calls that we were going back and forth with each other. I had requested to see my son. I wanted to make sure that he was okay. She had sent many disturbing messages back and forth to me.
Where were you on the 30th, on that Monday? Were you living at 125 Phillips Brook?
That was my permanent legal residence, but I was at my parents' house that day.
Okay. Had you gone, when was the last time you had been there?
It would have been June 27th, I believe, the day before our planned bachelor.
Okay. At any point, did you go back there to retrieve some items, the guns or anything like that?
Yes, the day prior, I had gone to obtain, I knew that I needed to pick up my firearms. I had feared for my son, and I thought that his life was in danger and grave risk.
Object to any further questioning on this on 403 grounds and on relevance grounds to whether Ms. Fitzsimmons assaulted a policeman in the bedroom with just the two.
Okay. I'm just going to take the objections one at a time. That objection sustained, I will strike.
You own firearms?
Yes, sir.
How many?
Roughly 9.
And where were they kept in the home?
They were kept upstairs in the closet. There was a large rifle safe. Several of them were kept in there. And then I had one firearm that I would keep in our bedroom that was in a green chest directly. If you were to walk into the bedroom, it was on the left side in the green chest, directly next to the door frame, locked up in my green safe.
Okay, so if you walk into your home through the door,
Yes,
the front door, the stairs to upstairs, fair to say, are almost right in front of you?
correct.
Okay. Now, as you walk up the stairs, there are 2 rooms at the top.
Yes.
There's a landing and 2 rooms at the top, correct?
Yes.
The safe that you had described, the green safe, which way would you go to get to the green safe?
You would take a right into the bedroom, and then the first foot that you would step into the bedroom, it was directly on your left, on the ground.
That was a bad question. What color is the safe, the rifle safe?
The rifle safe was black.
Black. Okay, I want to talk about that first. I apologize. Now, where was that?
If you were to go up the stairs and you were on the landing, you would take a left. You would go into that room right there, and then it was in that closet directly on the left side of the room.
Okay, and it's a rifle safe, meaning it has a lock?
Yes.
What kind of lock?
I believe it was a keypad lock.
Do you know if the defendant had any firearms?
Yes.
How many?
I couldn't be exact. She just got her license to carry returned to her. I don't know the exact number of firearms that were returned to her.
Okay, what kind were they?
Several handguns.
Handguns? Okay. When you went on the 29th to retrieve your handguns, where did you go?
I went directly upstairs and I went into that gun safe, the rifle safe that was on the left side of the landing, and I retrieved my firearms from there first.
Okay. And then you talked about a green safe.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that. You walk up the stairs, the landing is there, you go to the right, which is the bedroom, correct?
Correct.
The other room, is that the one with the crib in it?
Correct.
Okay. Now, if you go right to your left, you had described on the floor, correct?
Yes.
You had one gun in there?
Yes.
Did you see any other guns in there when you opened that?
No, I did not.
So are we now talking about the green safe?
Yes.
Okay,
Have a second.
sure.
I'm going to show you what's been previously marked as exhibit number 40 first, okay?
Okay.
You see that screen?
I do, yes.
You recognize what that is?
Yes.
So describe where the photo taker, the picture taker would be standing in that home.
They'd be standing on the landing as immediately as you go up to the stairs to the second floor in between the 2 rooms.
Okay, and that's the one on the left that we had been describing,
Yes.
correct? I'm going to show you what's been previously marked.
The one on the left, meaning the room on the left?
Yes.
Okay.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 45. Can you see that?
Yes.
Do you recognize what that is?
I do, yes.
What is it?
That is the nursery. That's the closet with my clothes in it. And behind my clothes is the black rifle safe.
Okay. And that is, when you're standing on the landing, that is the room to the left. In the closet in that room is where the rifle safe is?
Correct.
And I'm sorry if I asked this already. Did you see any of the defendant's guns in that rifle safe?
Yes.
How many? Do you remember?
I don't remember exactly. I believe there was 2, but I don't remember the exact amount.
Now, bear with me. I'm going to take it step by step. I'm going to show you exhibit number 49. Do you recognize what that is?
Yes, that is taken from the landing going up to the second floor on the right side. That's facing our bedroom with my green safe on the floor.
Okay, so the picture taker is on the landing, correct?
Correct.
The stairs are pretty much behind them.
Directly behind.
and I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 51. Do you recognize that room, first of all?
Yes, I recognize the room.
And that's the same room we were just talking about?
Yes.
The green safe is the box on the left corner of the picture?
Yes, and on the ground, that the large chest, the box, yes.
Okay, so this is the safe you were talking about?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Do you know what that box is?
I do not know.
Have you seen that box before?
I may have, but I don't remember seeing it.
When you went on the 29th and retrieved your gun out of that safe, and you didn't see any of the defendant's guns in that safe, correct?
I don't believe so, sir.
Do you remember that box being on top?
That box was not there, sir.
Now I'm going to turn your attention, now that we're on the 29th, I'm going to turn your attention to the 30th. You had stated that you had been calling and texting the defendant throughout that day, correct?
Yes.
Were there any plans attempted to be made by anyone?
She had made several attempts to try to get me to meet her at the Common via text message. She had reached out and said, can we meet the Common at 2 p.m.? My initial response back to that was, for what? She then, again, tried to get me to reason with me, to meet me at the Common again. At that point, I said I had no gas. There was no way for me to get there. And she tried to meet up at several points. And I told her that was not comfortable. I did not feel comfortable being alone with you. I wanted to make sure my son was okay. And I feared that his life was in danger.
Where were you when the texting back and forth was happening?
I believe I was at my parents' house in Stowe.
Okay. At some point, did you make your way to North Andover?
I did, yes.
Why?
I felt that my son's life was in grave danger and that imminent harm may come to him in the hands of Kelsey.
Okay. So as a result of that.
Hold on, there's an objection. Overruled, just as the state of mind, not the truth.
So where did you go?
I went to my friend Hunter Hassam's house. He was renting an apartment in North Andover at the time.
Did you call anybody to meet you there?
I don't know if I had made the calls or they had called me, but I had called my sister Courtney. I told her that I was going to North Andover. I had feared for my son and that I didn't know what was going to happen, but I had called her and I was in contact with Kelsey's maid of honor, Katrina, and her bridesmaid, Michelle.
So Katrina, Michelle, Courtney, Hunter, and you?
Yes, sir.
All right. Are you all in Hunter's house right now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Without saying what was said between was there anybody else there? Because I have 5.
I believe Hunter's girlfriend at the time, she was there as well. I believe she was present.
Okay. Now, were you communicating when you were there with the defendant at all?
Yes.
Can you tell us about that?
There were text messages that were being exchanged just over Caden, our son, and just general messages back and forth.
Okay. Did you ever agree to go meet her at the park?
No, sir.
Okay. At some point, did you learn through the text messages anyway that she knew you were at Hunter's?
Yes, sir.
Can you tell us about that, please?
All of us were at Hunter's. We were all discussing the events that had occurred and what we could do to ensure Caden's safety, which is our son, but also Kelsey and everyone else around. At one point, Kelsey had messaged my phone.
To the extent, Judge, that the questions are open-ended, producing narrative answer, I object. And, there's been all sorts of objections sustained about his answer. So I would ask the court to maybe direct the Commonwealth to make more specific questions so that it doesn't produce an answer that's half okay and half non-responsive and objectionable.
So the objection is overruled. If you could just try to just answer the question to the best of your ability, right?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, next question.
Thank you. Did she, meaning the defendant, say something to you to indicate that she knew you were at Hunter's?
She
Yes,
had,
yes or no?
yes.
Okay, what did she say?
I don't remember the exact verbiage, but it was, what are you doing? Something along the lines of, what are you doing at Hunter's? What is happening? Why are you with my friends? Something along those lines.
Okay. Now, without getting into the conversation that you had with your friends and with your sister, was a decision made for you to go somewhere to do something?
Yes.
Okay. And what was that?
To go to Lawrence to obtain a restraining order attached with temporary custody of Caden.
Okay. And did you do that?
Yes.
Where did you go? Do you remember?
I don't remember the exact, it was family probate court, I believe it was, but I'm not 100% sure.
And who did you go with?
I went with my sister, Courtney.
Okay. Now, did you fill out paperwork while you were there?
I did, yes.
Did anyone assist you in filling that out?
Yes, my sister helped me, and then there was also someone with the court system. I don't know who the name was, but they assisted as well.
Fair to say you went in front of a judge, an order was issued, and then you left the building, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Where did you go when you left the building?
I immediately went to the North Andover Police Department.
When you got there, did you have a conversation, without saying what was said, with some of the police personnel there?
Yes.
Did you give them anything?
I believe I handed them the restraining order. And they said that it was already faxed to them.
Okay. At some point, did they leave?
They did, yes.
And what did you do?
I waited at the police station while they went to the Kelsey Fitzsimmons home.
Okay. And at some point, did you get a call?
I did, yes.
From who?
I believe it was from Officer Daly. He had called to inform me to come to the residence and get custody of my son.
So did you go?
I did, yes.
Did you go with anybody else?
My sister and I, we both went to the house. We took 2 separate cars.
Did you get there at the same time?
Yes.
What happened when you got there?
At that point, we both walked into the house. Officer Daly was downstairs. 2 officers were upstairs. And Kelsey's mother was holding the baby in the living room. At that point, I obtained Caden from her mother. And then we initially started to put him in a car seat. And then once he started crying, we figured it might be best, my sister and I, to get him ready for transport, to bring him back to Stowe outside.
Okay, so who carried Caden out?
My sister, Courtney, did.
And what did you do?
I asked if I could obtain some clothes while I was there. I just needed something so I could live day to day, as I had no clothes or any of my son's.
Was this the first time you went out, or did you go back in the house a second time, if you remember?
This was the first. I went out the first time, and then I came back in.
Okay, so the first time you went out, Courtney went out with Caden.
Yes.
What did you take, if you remember?
I believe I had a car seat in my hand.
Okay. At some point, you came back
Yes.
and you asked permission to do something?
Yes, I asked permission to get some clothes and a few clothes for Caden and some of his bottles and formula.
Okay, so where did you go?
I went down to the basement that was under construction at the time. There was no lights on, so I believe I had my camera, my phone out with the light on it, and I was searching for a suitcase that I had down there just to throw some clothes in.
At some point, was your attention drawn to something?
Yes.
What happened?
I immediately heard an officer's commands. I heard an officer scream out, "Stop, don't do it." At that point, I believe I had heard several gunshots ring out, and I heard Kelsey's mother screaming.
What did you do then?
At that point, I immediately ran through the garage, which was connected just to the basement. There was no wall there. Again, we're putting up a wall, so I ran straight through there. I fumbled with the lock for a second to get it open, as there was no light down there. As I got it open, I threw the door open, and I ran around the side of the house, screaming for my sister to run.
And so where did you go? Did you see your sister?
I believe I saw her briefly. I did see her running down past the school that was adjacent to our property.
With Caden?
Correct, yes.
So what did you do?
At that point, as I saw my sister run, I knew that we needed a vehicle for transportation to get out of there, to get out of the area as fast as possible, fearing for my son's life, for my sister's life.
Sustain, just what you did.
I got into my vehicle. I believe I had made eye contact very briefly with Officer Houston, who was grabbing his medical bag out of his patrol vehicle. I got into my truck and I immediately pulled a U-turn and drove where I saw my sister running from. Once I got to the other end of the school, I had stopped my vehicle, and at that point I didn't see which direction my sister had gone. So I had stood outside my car yelling her name repeatedly. I wasn't sure where she was or if she was okay. And then
At some point, did she appear?
she did appear. She came running out behind another house across the way, and she came running over towards me.
And what happened when she got to you?
She got in the vehicle, and then we quickly drove down the road to get away towards Mass Ave in North Andover.
And where did you eventually go?
We eventually made our way back to Stowe, Massachusetts, my parents' residence.
Thank you. If I could just have 1 second.
Yes.
Were the guns that you and the defendant had, were they ever kept in the basement?
No,
Is there a gun safe in the basement?
there was never a gun safe in the basement.
Did you have a way of remotely accessing the surveillance cameras?
I could look at them.
Did you before you went over?
Remotely accessing them, I was able to view them, yes.
Okay, when you did you see the defendant's car in the driveway?
No,
Okay, is that where she usually parked?
yes, always.
Okay, and when I asked you that question, what time frame were we talking about?
During the day, what time?
Yeah.
It must have been roughly 5 o'clock, 5 p.m.
Thank you. I have nothing else.
Okay, cross-examination?
Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
So a lot of talk about gun safes. The safe that you mentioned with your rifles in it, that was in the baby's room, correct?
Correct, yes.
And that's the room as you go up the stairs to the left, you hit the landing, you go make a left, you're in the baby. And then you visited the house on the 29th to retrieve your guns, right?
Yes,
And it's fair to say that you spent about 60 seconds with the baby.
I would say that's not true.
Kelsey had to tell you, do you want to see your baby? Do you want to hold your baby? And you held your baby for about a minute. Isn't that right?
I was at the property for roughly 30 minutes.
Answer my question.
Okay.
Is that true?
Yes,
So with respect to the gun safe in the bedroom to the right, up until then, that was your and Kelsey's bedroom, correct?
correct, yes.
And there was a green safe in that bedroom, right?
Yes, sir.
And on the 29th, you went to that bedroom and you retrieved some of your firearms from that green safe, correct?
Yes, sir.
In fact, that was your grandfather's safe, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
And you wanted to take that with you, didn't you?
I did, yes, sir.
And you took Kelsey's guns out of that safe and you put them on the bed so that you could take only your guns and your grandfather's safe. Isn't that correct?
I did not take the gun safe, sir.
Isn't that what your intention was until Kelsey asked you not to?
I did leave the gun safe, yes, sir.
You left it because Kelsey asked you to leave it because she needed a place to safely keep her guns, right?
I don't know if that was her intention, sir.
So let's just go back a minute. You said that you went into that safe, you didn't see any other guns, you took your guns and you left. Isn't it true that you took Kelsey's guns, which you did see in the safe, you put them on the bed and you tried to take the safe?
I do not remember if I took any of her guns out of the safe, sir. I don't remember seeing any of her firearms in that green safe. I only remember seeing them in the black safe.
So, I mean, you were very interested in getting your stuff out of that house on a couple occasions. This was your chance to get your grandfather's gun safe out of there, And it's your testimony that you just decided to leave it?
The only priority was removing my firearms. That was secondary because it was holding my safe, and it meant a safe transport way to move that firearm out of the house in a secure manner.
And when you left Kelsey with her firearms, and you took yours and you went back to Stowe with your father, correct?
Yes, sir, I took my firearms.
Now, you said you were, just want to get it right. You said that you work at the North Andover Fire Department, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Do you work there presently?
Yes, sir.
Are you on the schedule?
No, sir.
Why not? He opened the door.
I'm sorry, objection. Relevancy? Yeah, I'll hear you sidebar.
Bruh, this guy in his fucking pube stash. I can't. I just can't. It's absurd. And it's funny how the prosecutor's like, objection, objection. Like, if you're making a case against the cops, Justin wasn't even in the fucking house, right? So this prosecutor is charging her with what, right? Like we said, he, you know, the whole, what is it, raising it, but I don't even know what they actually, I have to go back and look again. I'm like, I know it's something fucking, because I was listening this morning, and people were going back and forth about it. Hold on one second, sorry guys. But it's like infuriating, really. Just, and the daughter, even the little sister's fucking, he does look 12. I was going to say how old, yeah, right. Yes, right, assault and battery with a deadly weapon. But, oh my God, it's so, so if I point a gun at a coffin, pointing a gun at a police officer in Massachusetts is a serious felony offense, most likely resulting in charges of assault with a dangerous weapon and potentially
To what I discussed at sidebar.
other grave charges.
Sir, you're not on the schedule and you're not presently able to work for that department, isn't that right?
Shwing!
And the reason you were placed on suspension or administrative leave, whatever you call it, is because you have been caught on video many, many times using drugs that are in violation of your department and the town policy, correct?
Allegations were placed against me, and the town has a responsibility to do their due diligence and investigate that matter.
So that's a yes?
Yes, sir.
When did that go into place?
I don't have the exact date, but roughly a week or two ago.
Do you know the duration of this suspension or whatever you want to call it?
Sustained.
How, oh, sorry.
Let's move on, Mr. Brado.
Sure. Nothing further, thank you.
Redraw?
No, thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you very much, sir.
Thank
may
you, Your Honor.
step down. And Commonwealth can call its next witness.
Bye, fuckhead. Did anybody else notice the little sister too? She said, a pink, I don't know, some blazer, some sort of a blazer. Bitch, you know what it is. Cut it out. You could have said jacket, coat, whatever. Shirt. You could have said shirt. Fuck out of here. She was being a cunt. And she talks like her brother. I really was going to say, I mean, we have not seen the sister and the brother and Justin in the same room. So I'm not going to say that wasn't Justin with a wig.
Could you raise your right hand? Do you solemnly swear that the testimony you're about to give in this cause now hearing shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth so help you God?
I do.
Thank you.
You may have a seat and put
Thank
yourself
you,
right
Your
up to the mic. How are you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing all right. How about yourself?
Excellent, thank you. You may proceed.
Sir, in a loud, clear voice, can you please introduce yourself? Spell your first name and your last name.
Patrick Noonan, PatrickNoonan.
And how old are you, sir?
50,
And what town do you live in?
North Andover.
Where were you born?
Rochester, New York,
How long did you stay there?
until I was about 4 years old.
And where did you move to?
North Andover.
Who did you move with?
My sister, mom and dad.
And what are their names?
My mom is passed, but my dad is Timothy Nunan.
And what was her name? Your mom?
Patricia.
And your sister?
Mary.
Does your sister live in the area?
She lives in Lynn.
Where did you go to school?
For high school,
Grade school, high school?
the North Andover Public School systems, and then for high school, I went to St. John's Prep.
And did you play any sports there?
Hockey and lacrosse.
Did you graduate?
I did.
Once you graduated, did you further your education in any way initially?
Initially, yeah, I went to Siena College for about a year, and then that wasn't working out. I got my degree later on down the road.
What did you get your degree in?
Criminal justice,
Where from where?
UMass Law.
Now, after you left Siena, did you work?
Yes, I did.
What did you do?
I worked at Macy's Security.
And at some point, how long did you work there?
Couple years. It wasn't too long.
Did you meet anybody significant in your life while you worked at Macy's?
My wife,
Who's that?
Angie.
And was she working there also?
She was.
Did you get married at some point?
We did.
Okay. I'm gonna ask you a dangerous question. What's your anniversary?
It is December 22nd,
Okay.
1999.
1999. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Do you have any kids?
I do.
How many?
Just one.
Boy or girl?
Boy, Joseph.
And what does Joseph do?
He is currently at UMass Lowell as well, studying environmental engineering.
Have you lived in North Andover ever since you've been 4 years old?
No,
Did you move around?
I did when I was in the military.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Oh.
I'm sorry about that. At some point, you talked about you were in the military. What area of the military did you join?
Air Force.
And when was that?
That was in '99.
And where is boot camp for the Air Force?
Lackland Air Force Base in San Antonio.
And can you tell us a little bit about boot camp? Some of the training, some of the things that you were subjected to, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, it's some sleep deprivation. You also have, you have to learn how to march. They basically strip your identity and try to build you up as a team.
Okay.
Firearms training, things like that.
At some point, did you make it through boot camp?
I did.
Did you, I guess, enlist or volunteer to any special area of the Air Force?
Security forces.
And what is security forces?
They're basically the defenders of the force. So when I went in, I went through my tech school, which is almost like a police academy. We learned various different things in there, land nav, different weapons systems, things of that nature. And then once you graduate, you get your orders cut.
And what were your orders originally?
Cheyenne, Wyoming.
Okay. And what was your role when you were in Cheyenne, Wyoming?
I originally, when I was waiting for my security clearance, I was originally working on the ground. So ingress, egress from the gates, a cruiser, enforce the laws of the Uniform Code of Military Justice.
When you're going through that type of training, are you trained in the use of firearms?
Yes.
Any different, all different types?
Yes.
Any other types of weapons,
Yes.
such as?
The 60, which is a fully automatic machine gun. The SAW, which is pretty much the same, only it's a little lighter. The 203, which is an M16 with a grenade launcher attached to it. M16 and also your sidearm.
Eventually, did you get your security clearance?
I did.
Okay, and was your assignment different when you got that?
Yes, they moved me over to like a camper team. So whenever a facility goes down, you go with a 4-man team to protect the site.
Okay. What kind of sites are we talking about?
Missile sites.
Okay. Nuclear missile sites?
Yes.
And are they in one state, more than one state?
Tri-state.
And what tri-state area was that?
That would be Wyoming, Nebraska, and Wyoming, Nebraska, Colorado.
And was that your range or?
Yes.
And at some point, well, can you tell us a little bit about the training you got? Was there any specific training for that job?
It was basically like on-job training.
Okay.
We're already trained up, so you get your orders, you get your assignment, and you link up with your 4-man team.
Okay. At some point, did you move on from what you had described as a camper team?
Yes.
To where?
Fire team.
And what is a fire team?
Fire team consists of 4 people. Each person carries a different weapon, from the machine guns to the 203, so on and so forth. Our primary responsibilities were if any alarms were tripped on any of the missile sites, we respond.
Okay. And so you're heavily armed.
Mm-hmm.
Is when you say you respond, is that on the ground?
Yes, it's on a Humvee. Yeah.
Okay. Did you at some point move from a camper team to something else?
Yeah, to the fire team, and then from the fire team, I went to the 37th helicopter unit.
Okay, so the helicopter unit.
Helicopter unit.
So how was your role different in the helicopter unit than it was on the camper team or the fire team?
We're still a 4-man fire team, but our primary mission there was to have overwatch whenever we're transporting nukes to or from base. And we basically radio down to the U.S. Marshal if we see a potential threat up ahead.
When did you leave the service?
2003.
And when you left the service, did you go to work anywhere else?
Seabrook Nuclear Power Plant.
In what capacity?
As an armed guard.
And any specific training of that, or did you rely on your military training for that?
There was also additional training for that. I think it was like 22 weeks or 12 weeks.
And what kind of trainings were that?
Just basic knowledge about nuclear energy, where to go in the plant, where not to go, different hazards to look out for, firearms training, and general knowledge of the whole plant itself.
At some point, did you decide to move on from Seabrook?
I did.
And what was your plan at that point?
The North Andover Police Department. I got on as a full-time reserve.
Okay. And how long were you a full-time reserve?
For 1 year.
And then did you become a full-time police officer?
I did. Went to the academy in 2006.
At some point during your tenure at the North Andover Police Department, did you have additional responsibilities.
Yes.
What were those?
Areas of responsibility, different sectors you're assigned to, respond to calls of service, 911, medical, effect arrest when necessary, enforce motor vehicle law.
Okay. What is RRT?
That's the regional response team.
And what is that?
They're a part of NEMLEC, and the RRT team primarily they deal with big crowds, riots, crowd control when it comes to let's say big games. If we win championships, just extra security, and also kind of like a search and rescue. If people go missing somewhere, they'll deploy the RRT to try to find them.
Were you part of that team?
I was.
For how long?
I would say about a year.
And NEMLEC, that's NEMLEC, correct?
Yes.
Northeast Massachusetts Law Enforcement Council?
That's correct.
Okay. Did you apply for a different role with NEMLEC
I
at some
did.
point? And what was that?
SWAT team.
And what's the difference between the RTT, the Regional Response Team, and the SWAT team?
The SWAT team primarily is special weapons and tactics. So we get trained up on different weapons, different uses of less lethal. We execute warrants, knock and no knock, for drugs and guns. If there is a hostage situation, I mean the whole gamut. Anything dangerous is what SWAT usually goes in for.
And so was this a team you had to apply for?
Tryout.
Tryout?
Mhm.
Okay. And what did that consist of?
8 days. It was like a 3-mile boot run in the morning, and then you had to do push-ups in a certain amount of time, sit-ups, squat thrusts, squat benders. Then you had to run 1.5 miles after that and make a specific time. After that, it was I think it was a 3-mile obstacle course you had to complete in a certain amount of time. And then after that, it was all firearms.
Okay. What's stress shooting?
When you shoot under stress, so typically how we induce stress when we want to stress shoot is we'll do sprints, we'll do.
Brown?
Here as an expert in stress shooting,
I'm sorry?
giving expert testimony about what you should and shouldn't do under stress.
Well, he was asked how he practiced stress shooting. That's the way I understood it.
So the assumption sort of rolled in there, Judge, is that he knows about stress shooting, he knows what he's doing with respect to stress shooting.
Well, he does, because he's been trained in it, and he's telling me that about the training, so.
Well, I don't object to his training, we're hearing a lot of it, but I do object to any sort of imprimatur as if he's an expert in giving his opinions about the area.
Okay, so I'm gonna take, as I said, I'll take it as it comes. I haven't heard any opinion testimony. If there's an opinion, please by all means object, but overruled.
You continue.
So to induce stress, when we go up to the range, we'll do a series of sprints, burpees, push-ups, sit-ups, and then we go right on line. That's for the intent of raising your heartbeat to a very high level and being able to shoot on target.
And when you say online, what do you mean?
The right in front of your targets.
Okay.
That's what I mean.
What's SWAT school?
That consisted of a full week, and I went to Worcester, and it was put on, hosted by LAPD SWAT.
Okay. What did that consist of?
Room entry, hallway clearing, room clearing, building searches, building clearing, the use of flashbangs, firearms, less lethal weapons, operating a Bearcat, shield work, the use of a Halligan, the use of a ram, things of that nature.
What's a shoot don't shoot scenario?
As far as,
Is that a thing? Shoot don't shoot?
oh yeah, we have shoot, don't shoot scenarios.
Okay, and did you participate in those?
We did.
What are those?
They would put up targets when we were clearing a house, and some of them, the pictures were depicted of either someone having a gun to someone's head as like a hostage, or someone would just be holding up a purse. So that was shoot, no shoot.
How often, when you were with SWAT, were you required to train with them?
2 times a month, and then a 40-hour block in the year.
Every year?
During the year, yeah.
Okay. And so how long were you with the SWAT? You were with it twice, correct?
Yeah, I was on 2 different teams.
Okay. The first time, how long were you with SWAT?
From 07 to, I believe, 13, shortly after the marathon bombings.
Okay. Did you, at some point, did you switch departments?
I did.
And you were in North Andover at the beginning, and where did you go?
I went to Lawrence.
Why?
Wanted a little faster pace.
Did you get it?
I definitely did.
Okay. Now, while you were with Lawrence, did you continue with your SWAT?
Yes, I tried out for the Lawrence SWAT team.
Okay. Can you tell us your trajectory while you were in Lawrence? Were you always on patrol?
No.
Okay. Can you tell us about that, please?
Became a field training officer, and then I wound up in detectives for several years, and then I went back to patrol to field train the new guys, SWAT, and that's pretty much it.
Now, you said you tried out for the Lawrence SWAT team, correct?
Yep.
And how long did you do that?
That was another 8-hour day.
Okay. I'm sorry. No, was that, I don't mean, that was a bad question.
Oh.
How long did you make it, right? You made
Yes.
it. And how long did you participate in the Lawrence SWAT team?
I believe 2019 to by the time I departed and went back to North Andover.
Okay. And so,
2024, Your Honor.
why did you come back to North Andover?
I just wanted to bring my training and experience back to where it all started. I have 10 years left, so yeah, that's about it. And I'm getting older, so slower pace is kind of needed.
Okay. So I'm going to turn your attention back to June 30th of 2025. Were you patrol on that day?
Yes.
Okay. What was your shift, if you remember?
I did a swap, so I was working for another officer. So that shift was 4 to 12.
At some point, did you get a call from someone in particular?
Yes, Officer Houston.
At some point, did you learn why he called you?
Yes.
And why was that?
Apparently, the defendant's ex-fiance took a restraining order out.
You had to serve it?
Yes, we had to serve it.
Did you know that person? Did you know a person by the name of Justin Elaine?
Didn't know him, but I met him on one occasion.
Did you know the defendant, Kelsey Fitzsimmons?
Knew her, but not well. She was on maternity most of the time that when I first transferred over. So.
All right. So you got a call from Houston.
I did.
Where did you go?
We met behind the Atkinson School. It's called the CCC, and he explained the situation to me.
Okay. Was he anybody else arrive at that point?
Not yet.
Okay. At some point, did someone?
Yes.
Who was that?
Lieutenant Daly.
Did you talk about any plan as to how this was going to occur?
Yeah, Lieutenant Daly said that he'd do the talking, and based on the restraining order, Justin was supposed to get custody. Oh, sorry.
Well, I'm sorry. Well, I'll jump in. So you knew that there was potentially a child there.
Yes.
And that the child would be transferred from the defendant to the fiance, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So where did you go?
So from there, I pointed out to Officer Houston and Lieutenant Daly the positioning of where the defendant had parked her car, which was at least 150 yards away from her house. And we all thought that that was very odd.
So where did you go?
We pulled up right before the house. The foliage was pretty overgrown. So we left our cars there, got out, and walked up to the front door.
Okay. At some point, did you come into contact with the defendant?
Yes, we did.
How did that happen?
Lieutenant Daly knocked on the door or rang the doorbell, and she came out.
Okay. Was she with anybody?
Her baby.
Where did you go?
We went into the family room. She went straight to a couch that's off to the left, and I kind of went straight. There was another couch, and I believe Houston was to the left of me.
Did you see and hear Lieutenant Daly interacting with the defendant?
Yes.
Can you tell us what you saw?
He explained the situation that Justin had taken the restraining order out, that we were going to have to remove firearms from the house, and that the baby, their son, he was going to be in Justin's custody for, I think it was 14 days until the next court hearing.
When Lieutenant Daly mentioned that the guns were going to be removed, did the defendant say anything about that?
Yeah, she said that they were located downstairs in the basement.
What happened after that?
I noticed her duty belt on the couch, so I went and checked that. There was no firearm in there, and I observed a like a gun case on a mantle. I opened that up, and there was no gun.
There was no gun. Did she say anything in response to that?
Yeah, she reiterated the guns were downstairs in the basement.
What happened next?
She went to gather some belongings for their son, and she came up and handed me the baby. He was screaming. I was trying to calm him down. I believe she gave me his bottle, and I was trying to feed him, but I thinking it can't be too comfortable. I wear an Albert carrier vest, and I have all my equipment in the front, so it was kind of hard to cradle him.
Did you eventually hand the baby off to someone else?
I did. I believe Lieutenant Daly.
Now, if do you typically wear gloves when you're on duty?
I do.
Were you wearing gloves that day?
Yes, briefly for maybe like 10 minutes.
Okay. Did you take them off once you were in the house?
I did.
Now, did Miss Fitzsimmons leave the room at all?
While I was with the baby, yes. Lieutenant Daly and Officer Houston escorted her around. I think it may have been a kitchen area. I never went back there, so I just basically stayed in the family room with their son.
Okay. Did on a typical restraining order service, would you let a person, the subject of the restraining order, walk around the house unattended?
No.
Okay. At some point, did they come back?
Yes.
Okay. What happened after that?
I handed the baby off. I was standing in front of her stairs, and she had stated that she had clothes upstairs for the baby, so I handed the baby off.
And so did someone go upstairs?
Myself and Officer Houston.
Where did you go?
We, right at the top of the stairs, it's like it's a very small hallway. Right to the left is the baby's room. Right to the right is the main bedroom.
Okay. And so where did she go first?
To the left, to the baby's room.
And what did you observe?
I observed a crib. The back wall had bookshelves of sort, and there were just clothes on the ground.
Did you enter the room or did you stay on the outside?
I entered the room there.
Okay. What did you see the defendant doing, if anything?
She was wrapping up baby clothes and she put him in a car seat. And then while she was doing that, I heard an older lady come in and start to yell at Lieutenant Daly.
Did that create any reaction from the defendant at all?
No, I asked her who that was downstairs, and she looked up and said she had no idea.
What happened next?
She handed me the baby seat and asked me to take it downstairs, and I told her no.
Okay, what did you do with it?
I put it on the ground. I said, we'll deal with that later.
What happened next?
She started packing a lot of books, and it's almost like this round basket with two handles. And I explained to her that her son's 4 months old. No need for all the books. You know, you're going to see him in 2 weeks. So
What did she do with the books?
she handed me the basket and asked me to go downstairs, bring it downstairs.
And what did you do?
I told her we would deal with it later, and I put it down on the ground.
And you told her she'd see her son in 2 weeks?
Yeah, roughly. I said your next court date is on the 14th.
What happened after you put the had that conversation with her and put the book carrier down?
At that point, Officer Houston had gone downstairs because of the commotion. So she said that she had to get more clothes out of her room. So I followed her into the room, but I never went in the room. I stayed on the, I guess the top landing, right before the door frame.
Okay. And did that seem to be a bedroom?
Yes.
Okay, so if you walk up the stairs, you had been in the room on the left, correct?
Yes.
Now she went across to the room on the right?
Yes.
Okay. You said you didn't go into the room yourself.
No.
Were you able to see her?
Yeah, she was 3 feet.
And what was she doing?
She was wrapping up clothes, and she had paused, and she said something to the effect that these are dirty. And I said, listen, you know, wherever the baby's going, I'm sure there's a washer and dryer. I said, wherever the baby's going, most likely has a washer and dryer, so don't be concerned. And then I could tell she was getting upset. She started to shake, and I said, listen, you know, court date is in 2 weeks. It'll be over before you know it.
Did something happen next?
Yes, she was on one knee when she was wrapping up the clothes, and she pushed off with her left foot and lunged behind the door frame. So to my left, to her right.
Okay. Could you see what was there from where you were?
Not from my perspective, no.
What happened after she went behind the door frame?
She reappeared with a gun and pointed it right at me and pulled the trigger.
Can you describe or show us how she did that?
Yep. So when she came around the frame here, she came up and clicked.
Okay. Where was it pointed?
My face.
After it clicked, what happened?
I screamed her name. I was completely shocked. She had the drop on me. She began to the drop, which means she had the tactical advantage over me. I drew my weapon. She was already backpedaling.
How?
She was doing what we call a tap rack. Basically, when you do a tap rack, that's when your gun malfunctions. So when you tap the magazine, you want to make sure it's properly seated in the magazine well, and then you rack the upper receiver or the slide.
Okay, I think the judge was writing. I'd like him to see this, if I could. If you could just, because you made some.
I'm trying to understand the lingo too. Is it a tap, wrap, like a
Rack,
wrap?
yes.
May he stand up so you can see what he's doing, Judge?
Yes.
So a tap, and a rack.
So tap on the bottom of the magazine
Yes.
and a rack. Did she do that once or more than once?
She did it twice. So the first time she did it, it was slow motion. I could see her hand slide off the top of the receiver. She started moving her way around the bed, and she began tap-racking again, and I was yelling at her, "Don't do it, don't do it."
And then what happened?
After she successfully got around in the chamber, her right arm started to come up, and I shot twice in rapid succession.
At her?
Yes.
Can you hold on one second, please? Yeah, I'll set that.
What did you observe after you fired the second shot?
I saw her flinch. The gun went down, so I stopped shooting. She stopped her action, and then she went to the ground.
Where was she at this point?
On the opposite side of the bed, in between the wall and the bed.
What did you do next?
I covered down on her.
And what does that mean?
I kept my gun on her or in the area where she was, because I couldn't really see all of her at that point.
What part of her could you see?
I think her legs, maybe. I don't really remember.
Okay. Did someone else appear at that time?
Lieutenant Daly.
Okay. And what did you see him do, if anything?
He came up, said, "Where's the gun?" I said, "She still has it. I'll cover you."
And so what happened?
We walked around the bed. I stayed lethal force on her. He rolled her and saw the gun.
Okay. Did you see the gun?
I did too. Yeah.
What happened with the gun?
He put it on the bed, and she was still conscious, alert, moving. I grabbed the gun. I moved it to the other side of the room.
What did you do next?
We immediately started first aid.
How so?
Putting pressure on the wound. We wanted to see if there was an exit wound, which there was. So we were trying to stop the bleeding. Officer Houston came running upstairs with a med kit. Lieutenant Daly started to wrap the wounds in gauze. And then Officer Core came into the room, and I ordered him to secure the weapon.
And did you see him do that?
I did.
Did you hear the defendant saying anything after she was on the ground?
It hurts. And I said, "Just keep breathing. You have a baby to live for."
What happened next?
The medics showed up, fire department, and we all got out of their way so they could start working Kelsey.
Did they transport her out?
Yes, they did.
Did you look for anything after she was removed from the house?
So before she was removed from the house, I walked out of the bedroom just to give them space. It was a very small room. There was a lot of stuff everywhere. Right to the right, there was some sort of, I don't know, end table where she lunged, and it looked like a wooden box of some sort, and the lid was open on that.
Did you look for any damage out in the hallway at all, or the other room?
When I got out into the hallway, the baby's room had a door with little glass panes. And we noticed, Officer Core noticed it first. He said, this is damage. Did she get a round off on you? And I said, geez, maybe she did.
Okay, hold on. Sustained.
Did you notice the broken glass?
Yes, I did, but there was nothing on the floor. So
at some point, did you?
Excuse me one second. Broken glass, where was it?
so on the baby's room, there's a door. I believe it was on the baby's room, and it had little glass panes.
Right.
One of them was damaged, but there was no glass on the floor, Your Honor, so I chalked it up as old.
Why did you shoot twice?
She wouldn't stop.
Do you know if you hit her with the first one or the second one?
I didn't know. The second one, I could visibly see her flinch. The first one, no, she was still getting ready to raise her arm.
Sir, I'm going to show you a number of pictures.
Sure.
I'll show you what's been marked as exhibit number 6. Do you recognize that?
I do.
Okay, what is that?
That's the front of the defendant's house and the door that we enter.
Show me exhibit number 10. Do you recognize what that is? Is that the front door?
Oh, yes, that's the front door. The stairs are right to the right. Yeah.
Sure. Show you what's been marked as exhibit number 36. Do you recognize what that is?
The stairs leading up. The stairs leading upstairs. So right to the right would be the master, and if you took a quick little left, the baby's room.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 39. Is that the baby's room that you were talking about?
Yes.
Number 38. Recognize what that is?
The baby's room.
Is that the container, I guess you will, the books that you were talking about earlier at the bottom?
Oh, yes. Right there.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as exhibit number 49. Do you recognize what that is?
That would be the entrance going into the master.
Okay, into the bedroom?
Yes.
Let me show you what's been marked as exhibit number 51. Do you recognize what's in that photo?
That would be the box that was open to the left of the door frame.
Number 50. Do you recognize what that is?
Yes.
Where were you in relation to this picture? Where were you when you first observed Miss Fitzsimmons pull out the gun and aim it at your face?
Right before the door frame.
Okay, so you backed up a little?
Yep. Probably right, whoever took that picture, probably right there.
And where were you in relation to the door frame when you shot your weapon?
I used part of the door frame as some sort of cover, and I was leaning up against it with both my hands. So my gun and my wrists would have been in the room.
Let me show you what's been marked as exhibit number.
All set, thank you.
Let me show you what's been marked as exhibit number 53. Do you recognize that?
I do.
Can you tell us, and Judge, if I may ask him to get down to point it out to you.
Okay.
Can you tell us where Miss Fitzsimmons was? If you may,
Point.
to show the judge where Miss Fitzsimmons was when she first tap-racked it, if you can.
Right about here. And then she started sidestepping, and I was telling her not to do it. And I shot approximately right here, and she finished.
I have nothing else.
So, makes sense to stop for the day at this point. And we'll pick up at 9 AM tomorrow morning. And witnesses, the folks that are on the witness list should continue to follow my order and rule. And that is not to watch any of the other folks' testimony. And we will pick up tomorrow morning.
All right. We'll stand in recess.
Well, there you have it. They're done for the day. I'm gonna take a break for a little bit. I'm gonna go live in a little bit anyway, so I'll catch y'all back here in a little while. If not, I'll catch you on the replay. But yeah, there you have it. I'm going to try and make sure that we are all set up for tomorrow morning, so we have the entire. She unplugging those cords? Is that her camera? Damn. I know. I wonder, which is crazy to like have him come back. I hate when they do that too. Obviously, Bradle's probably, gonna need more than 20 minutes, but again, court should be open 9 to 5, right? Like that's, it's fucking insane. The whole system is just backhanded. I just don't understand it. What did Kim say? One would think this asshole would have some kind of emotion. Yeah, I kind of felt that too. If he was in fear for his life, he wouldn't have stopped at 2 shots. He would have unloaded. Yep, that makes sense. Yep. Seemed kind of like he was talking out of both sides of it, both sides of his mouth there. This was an orchestrated. Yeah. That's what it feels like, Suzanne. That you, obviously, as a blender, I love you. You're hilarious. All right. Well, I'm going to bounce out for a little bit. I got some shit to handle, and I'll jump on in a little while. All right. Love y'all. Bye.